Hello and welcome to this week's midweek mini lesson. We are again in Galatians. We're still in Galatians 1. We're going to be starting in verse 11 and going to the end of the chapter. So here we go. It says, I want you to know, brothers, that the gospel I preached is not something that man made up. We can just stop there. The gospel of Jesus is not something that man made up. I did not receive it from any man, nor was I taught it. Rather, I received it by revelation from Jesus Christ. For you have heard of my previous way of life in Judaism. Remember, Paul used to go and actually kill Christians, or even arrest Christians, and do all sorts of things to them to try to stop what he called the way, what Christianity was called back then. How intensely I persecuted the church of God and tried to destroy it. Verse 14. I was advancing in Judaism beyond many Jews of my own age and was extremely zealous for the traditions of my fathers. But when God, who set me apart from birth and called me by his grace, was pleased to reveal his Son in me so that I might preach among the Gentiles, I did not consult any man, nor did I go up to Jerusalem to see those who were apostles before I was. But I went immediately to Arabia and later returned to Damascus. All right, so right here, what he's trying to tell people what happened. He said, look, you heard what I was. He said, and then when Christ was revealed to me, when God revealed Christ to me, I realized right away I was called to the Gentiles, and I didn't go to Jerusalem and to try to get approval or anything like that. He says, I went to Arabia and then later went back to Damascus. Verse 18, then after 3 years, I went to Jerusalem to get acquainted with Peter and stayed with him 15 days. I saw none of the other apostles, only James, the Lord's brother. I assure you before God that what I am writing to you is no lie. Later, I went to Syria and Cilicia, I think is how it is. I was personally unknown to the churches of Judea and that are in Christ. They only heard the report that the man who formerly persecuted us is now preaching the faith he once tried to destroy, and they praised God because of me. So, again, this is just a report of what he has been doing, and he's trying to inform the people of Galatia what happened to him. He said, look, I had this awesome encounter, and I went to the Gentiles, and I went out, and I didn't go to Jerusalem first. It was 3 years before I went to Jerusalem, and I only met up with Peter for 15 days, and I saw James, but nobody else. They were the only people I saw there, and as I went around talking to people, no one even knew who I was. They had just heard this report that the man that once persecuted Christians is now preaching the gospel, and that they praised God because of him. And he's basically saying, I went in there, not like they had no idea who I was. So it's really interesting. He's basically setting up the Galatians, the people of Galatia, to understand who he is and why he's doing what he's doing, why he's actually qualified to do what God has called him to do. And he says, look, the qualification did not come from Jerusalem. The qualification did not come from Peter. The qualification did not come from James, did not come from anybody. The qualification came from God through Jesus to me. And I did all this stuff way before I even went to Jerusalem. So I hope you enjoyed this week's midweek mini lesson. We will be in Galatians 2 starting next week. Talk to you later. Have a good New Year. Bye.